Welcome back to Fast Money. It's a bank purgatory. Despite what should feel like nirvana for the financials, they seem to be stuck in limbo. So how far away is bank heaven? The devil, of course, in the details. Let's get to Dom Chu to break it down. Hey, Tom.
Well, Melissa, the easiest way to say it is that the banks have a pretty long way to go before reaching those pearly gates. The bank stocks have been a big focus given the recent rise in interest rates, with the 10-year U.S. Treasury note yield pulling back a little bit today, but still hovering right around the highest levels in 7 years. Now, some of the traditional and conventional wisdom is that higher rates are good for the bank stocks. That's not exactly playing out this time around. Over the course of the last 1 month, JPMorgan Chase shares up a little less than 1%. We're going to stick with the money center banks. Look at Bank of America, which is actually down by almost 3% in that span. Wells Fargo, meanwhile, is down around 6% during that time. And regional banking power PNC Financial down around just over 2%, we'll call it. Now, one of the big reasons could lie not just with the level of interest rates, but the difference between longer-term rates and shorter-term ones, the term structure, the yield curve, whatever you want to call it, that gap, it's got to be either steepening or remaining relatively flat at least. It's steeper than it has been in the past, but still flattish on a relative basis. The banks are going to be a key focus for traders in the coming weeks, with earnings season, of course, kicking off. The financials have been a notable laggard in the overall market. So, Melissa, if they can somehow turn around, it could be fuel for a possible leg higher or maybe still a drag. Back over to you guys.
All right, Dom. Thanks, Dom Chu in the newsroom. So are all of these names doomed to wander in purgatory, or perhaps something worse? Or could they attain salvation and rise to the sacred heights of bank heaven?
Feels like a game.
It does.
Right?
We will let the traders decide in a new game we are calling Bank Heaven or Bank Inferno. Now, it seems like this would be very straightforward. Bank Heaven or Bank Inferno.
Better than the red duck.
But let's see how this is going to work. Let's take JPMorgan, for example. If a trader thinks that JPMorgan will make a turnaround, you will see and hear this. Saintly angel harps. It's green, meaning buy. The stock is going to bank heaven.
It all makes
if a
sense.
trader thinks there's no saving one of these names, you'll see and hear this.
Oh.
Look at that red devil. The stock will be doomed to burn in the hellfires of Bank Inferno. All right, so let's start off with that example. Pete, it's on your shoulders. JPMorgan, Bank Heaven or Bank
Total
Inferno?
heaven. Absolute heaven. First of all, you start off with a company that's basically kept up with the S&P. Nobody else has. And you can, over the last week or so, it's actually even held in there. Dom was showing us the chart there. Jamie Dimon's as good as it gets. This is a company that had record profits last quarter. And if you look at their earnings and their revenue growth, it's still very strong. I think this thing is the greatest. I own the stock. I think it's in heaven.
Are you worried about mortgage originations coming down?
No.
1 month, 3 month LIBOR spreads have
Everybody's
actually
bringing that
collapsed.
up.
I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on.
I think there are other aspects of their businesses that are doing so well. I think that can balance out. Credit cards being one of them.
Are you worried that it's one of the best performing bank stocks, and in a market downturn, that's the first one where investors will take profits?
I don't know that they would. I think they would go take profits other places, and I think if they did, I think it's a great opportunity to buy.
The next stock is Wells Fargo. Dan, Bank Heaven or Bank Inferno?
Oh, let me guess.
Well, Inferno. And I actually have a very good reason, because I actually think one of the best pair trades in the market could be long JPMorgan, short Wells Fargo, because I think you don't want, this is someone that obviously has regulatory scrutiny, a lot of it. They've had no shortage of scandals. But when you think about consumer lending, you think about some of the things that are going on that, like, cyclically could be going on in our economy. These guys are very exposed. So loan growth, auto loans, that sort of thing. I want to stay away from this one. It's down 12% in the year, down 20% from its 52-week highs. They report Friday morning. I think you can wait. I think you want to take a shot if it can hold 50.
What do you say on WFC?
I would agree with Dan. I would be sort of the seller.
Inferno.
I mean, I think there's still headline risk, and not that it's impacted the stock all that much, but you get a couple more negative headlines in the tape we're seeing. I agree. I think you sell Wells by JPM.
By the way, we need to keep that picture of Dan and the devil for other
I think we should
shows.
just put him in the corner.
Can I make one more point? And this is about the whole segment.
Here he goes.
It also trades
whole sector deserves
1.4
the devil.
times
Coming after
book.
me.
Much more expensive than we're probably going to get to Citi and Bank of
just about
America.
everybody
I don't know why you'd be long this one at that value.
Because they don't have. I own the stock as well, and I actually think that's the opportunity. Is I think when you look at
Heaven
the upside
for
right
Wells
now,
Fargo for you.
I like Wells Fargo, and I also think there's going to be changes at the top. That's what they need, and when that happens, that's why Warren Buffett continues to hold it.
Look at that.
Next stock, Bank of America. Tim, Heaven or Inferno?
It's absolutely heaven. This balance sheet is heaven. This capital return program is heaven. These guys have never given more capital back to investors. And the valuation at this point is at the bottom of a historical range. So, all right, the things I just talked about that I'm worried about with JPMorgan, I'm worried about for all the money center banks. But I can stay in here. This is a heavenly time to be a Bank of America investor because they're actually paying me to hold the stock, and the valuation is very, very cheap.
You guys have been saying this all year, and they're just massively underperforming. They just don't work, So what are you waiting for here? We had the 210 spread was going to invert. Now wind out here.
I'm not day trading this thing. I own the stock, and I'm going to stay. And I feel very good about management. I feel good about the leverage they have to the global economy. You think the world's coming to an end?
I do not think the world's coming to an end. I don't think this is a market where you actually want to be digging into underperformers.
There's a devil.
Fork in the road is what.
Bring that devil up.
I want to move on to the next stock.
I think I understand this game.
I'm not sure he does.
Devil is bad,
Devil's
angel
a
is good. It's pretty
sense.
straightforward.
Telescope coming up.
PNC, heaven or inferno, guy?
Do you remember the song remember Tavares?
Yes.
That's Frank Tavares.
Heaven must be missing an angel.
Heaven must be missing an angel.
How
Maybe
good
the
is
angel
that?
they're missing is PNC Financial. Thank you for the angel wings there. And listen, are they rich on valuation? 1.5 times price to book. So Dan would say, yeah, this is a little expensive. But 9.5, 10 times EPS growth, trades around 10.5 times forward earnings. They're going to file to be able to buy back some more stock, significantly lower than the all-time high it made earlier this year. Held 137.5, which was the low we saw in the spring. Don't give me the wind it up, big boy. Give me the
And the Saturday Night
angel wings.
Saturday Night Fever soundtrack.